What's up, everybody? ShuckleKing here, bringing you my experience for Pokemon Regionals 2025 in Louisville. This is 2024, which it is 2024 right now, but technically the regional stand is 2025, even though it started in like August or September. I guess it goes until next August, so I guess that's how the year goes. So it was in 2024, but the cycle was for 2025. Great. So yes, I competed in Pokemon VGC, and you'll find out how well I did in a bit. But before I do that, to celebrate going to Louisville, I have some bourbon from Kentucky, which is where Louisville also is in. But I've had this for a while. I didn't get this down there specifically. I didn't have any bourbon down there. This is Redemption bourbon. It's definitely fine. So I have a little bit of this before we get started. It says this might be a longer one. I'm going to talk about my teams. I'm going to talk about all the opponents I played. I'm going to talk about how I got into it, my experiences down there. So it's going to be a lot. So we'll get into this. And I'm going to have some timestamps as well. So first, how did I even get interested? I think I got interested because I heard that Baltimore had a regional. Maybe even heard before that Under the Radar and Galvanate, two Pokemon Draft League players, were considering doing some VGC work. So I was like, that sounds interesting. I was like, I would like to go to an event and maybe compete at one point. So I looked up the schedule and I saw that there was an event in Baltimore. I was like, great. And when I looked up, it said signups are available. I was like, I'll consider this. I'll mess around with the game for a little bit. I knew a couple people from Under the Radar's wedding that played VGC. I can talk to them. Maybe they can give me some teams. Maybe I can just play around on Showdown, see if I do it okay, see if I do well, and see how it goes from there. In the past, I did was it two? I think I've done two. No, definitely one. It was only one. Draft Doubles League. With UDL, so Matty Brolick and Carson's league, and that was a fun experience. And way back in the day, in Generation, I think 6, I got laddering requisites for banning sleep and Smogon doubles back in Generation 6. I believe that team had Jump Left, which Joe Ugardi's team ended up having and placing second place in this regional, so that was definitely fun. So yeah, I've played doubles a tiny bit, but not that much at all. And going into this tournament, I've probably played less than 200 total games. Probably is the right number. So there's definitely some techs I don't know, as you'll find out in a little bit. But regardless, I was like, I saw that there was going to be a regional in Baltimore, which is about a 2-hour drive from Philadelphia. So I was like, you know what, maybe I could do that. And then I looked on the RK9 website, and signups are available. I was like, that's great. So I think a week before, so I was looking at my team and such. I still would have had to have figured I had to EV my team up and such. But a week out, I looked and tried to sign up on the website and saw I couldn't sign up. So it says on the website, on the rk9.gg website, that signups are open, but it doesn't tell you that the Masters Division signups were closed, and Junior and Senior Division, which is under 16, maybe it's under 12 and under 16, I'm not sure of the age range, had availability. I'm not less than 16, so it was not open for me. What I also didn't realize were there are events at these regionals if you aren't competing in the main events. You just have to sign up for them maybe the day of or the day before or something like that. And it seems like they fill up pretty quickly. So you definitely want to get onto that. But regardless, I didn't compete at all at Baltimore. Spent a lot of time with Chimpact. That was a good time. Saw Chase, saw Finchinator. Yeah, it was good. Definitely boring, I would say, going to a regional without competing. The stage was definitely cool that they had set up, especially in Baltimore. I think it was set up better than it was in Louisville. But still Louisville is still a great experience. But the games didn't start streaming until 12 or 1 o'clock, and competitors started getting there at 8:30. Or the game started at 8:30. So there was definitely a long period where there was really not much going on. You just watch people play, I guess. but you don't want to get in their way either. You want them to focus. So didn't really see too much there outside of the stream games, which were neat, but you can also just watch it at home. No need to pay money to travel somewhere when you can just do it at home. So if you're going to go to these events, I would recommend definitely trying to obviously sign up for the main event, but there are side events. So that was something I missed on my behalf, and definitely would have been interested in doing it in the future. Yeah, I guess I'll show right off the top of the bat, my placement in this league in this tournament was 194. I think it's officially 195. I'm not sure this website how like it measures the stats, but we got 194th place. I finished 5-3. And then first tiebreaker is the strength of the opponents you played and how their records were matched out, and then there's a tie between there, and then it's the record of the opponents of your opponents. So it's it makes sense, but it can be a little convoluted. But we had 753 teams. So let's see. Let's get a calculator up. 194 divided by 753. So I was in the top 25.7% of competitors. So I am pretty fine with that result, especially with my 194 record. If I did win my last game, I was in position to be a significantly higher ranking. If, say, I was 4-3 and then won my game to go to 5-3, it definitely doesn't feel as good because you're already eliminated from the competition. And honestly, I think my record would have been higher if some of my opponents, were definitely more experienced, but as soon as they lost 3 games, they just forfeited out the rest of their games. So I think that hurt my my resistance overall, but can't complain too much. So teams that I was using to prep, like my general VGC initial journey was this balanced Incineroar team. I guess I'll talk about at least very basic stuff, but I'll go more in detail about the team I finally used with. Incineroar is a top VGC mon. Amoonguss was in the top 12 as well. You're going to have safety goggles to make sure you don't get put to sleep by Amoonguss. Primarily, Amoonguss is one of the best Pokemon in the format because of Spore and how bulky it is. And it also has Rage Powder, which can redirect single target moves to hit Amoonguss instead of your opponent. Like, say, if you want to try to go for a Wood Hammer with a Rillaboom against Ursaluna, if Amoonguss uses Rage Powder, then you would target that. But that's a bad example because grass types are unaffected by Rage Powder. But say, I don't know, an Ice Beam from a Frostlass would aim at the Amoonguss instead of Ursaluna if you go for Rage Powder. If you have Psychic Goggles, that also negates Rage Powder. So that's also nice there. Ursaluna, you guys know in Draft League it hits super, super hard. But it's slow. You usually have to trade 1 for 1, but if you have teammates that are making sure you don't get actually hit for damage, then you're in good shape. And some leagues ban Terra on them on. If you can Terra Ghost, then you're immune the Fake Out and such. So definitely nice Ursaluna. Porygon 2, you know how bulky it is. Crazy spread there. And these are EV spreads that I just took from a Pokepaste that I found. Goldango, Nasty Plot. What's crazy about Make It Rain in doubles is that it hits both of your opponents. So it's 120 base power special move that hits your opponents, and it lowers your special attack 1 stage after you get a Nasty Plot up. That still hits super hard, especially if you have Terra Steel, which will basically give you a Choice Specs boost. Primarina has Liquid Voice, and Hyper Voice will hit both your opponents. So definitely a cool team. It was fairly slow. I didn't like how slow and bulky the team was. I could have made Goldango maybe faster, but it still would have been very slow. I tried just on my own to throw a Specs Dragapult onto the team. Bandit is a lot more popular. I think Specs is definitely okay, but also didn't really like how this team looked too well. My buddy Vinny, VGC, who I met at Kelly's wedding, was giving me this team to try out, and this was a team he was cooking up from, I guess maybe Regulation A or B. This is Regulation H right now, so the Regulation H meta is no Paradox Pokemon and no Legendaries, so the power level is definitely lower, which means I think there's a higher chance of lower viability Pokemon to shine in this format. So the basis of this team was Murkrow could foul play your Armarouge, give it a weakness policy and a weak armor boost. You could click Armor Cannon or Expanding Force. Expanding Force hits both your opponents if they're Psychic Train out, which can be brought out by the Indeedee, and then you hit for super hard damage, and you're also pretty bulky with this spread. Indeedee's here to set up the Psychic Train, the female version, as well as Follow Me. Follow Me is not on the male version, but the male version has higher special attack. This version is more of a support version. Follow Me has Torkoal with the Trick Room on Indeedee or the Trick Room on Gallade to set up Eruption from Torkoal, which will hit super hard. And even your Murkrow has Sunny Day if you really want. You probably don't go Tailwind plus Torkoal, but you could go Tailwind plus Armarouge. Gallade is here as a very nice Kingambit answer. Even though Gallade has really low physical defense, if you have Psychic Train up, you're not going to be hit by a Sucker Punch. This is also pretty decent into Archaladon, because Gallade is a lot higher special defense, and it can ignore defense boosts with Sacred Sword, because as you guys know, Archaladon gets the stamina whenever it gets hit, and then Goldango here is just a hard hitter at the end. You could pair this with doubling your speed with Tailwind and add a lot of damage, and very fast is a good combo. Another team I was trying out, but I figured that wasn't a team. I think that mode was too risky for someone doing their first event. We have this Justin Tang team who I met at Baltimore. Very nice guy, and a great player. This was a Spec Salamence team. Dragons were definitely popular. Later on, I'm going to talk about what team compositions were popular, but a popular format was Rillaboom, Primarina, Sneasler, Kingambit, and then you have a dragon on the team. It could be Dragonite, it could be Salamence, it could be Dragapult. I think Garchomp was a little less common, especially because it has a weird synergy with Rillaboom. And then you have a redirect Pokemon, which could be Electabuzz, Magmar, or Clefable. In this version, the team had Electabuzz, but Electroweb to lower the speed of both of your opponents. Spec Salamence with Terra Fire is pretty cool. Hydreigon also runs that set. Though this team doesn't really have the support for Specs Hydreigon. Ideally, you can set up a Sunny Day and hit super hard with Hydreigon, but Salamence is faster, so that is a plus there. Kingambit hits super hard with Terra Dark, Swords Dance, boosted Cattail Cleaves, and Sucker Punches. Rillaboom makes sure you can remove Psychic Terrain and gives you Grassy Terrain, so Earthquake does less damage into Kingambit and Electabuzz. Primarina hits decently hard with Hyper Voice, and Sneasler with Focus Sash lets you live 2 hits, and you can go for Fake Out Poisons and Dire Claw Poisons or Sleeps, which I didn't get too many of this past weekend, and I did bring a Sneasler team. Because ultimately I wanted a team that had Sneasler, one, because it's a cheese Pokemon, because it has Dire Claw, which I think it's a 65% chance to give you a status. It's a 50% chance to give you Sleep, Poison, or Para, so 1/6 chance for Sleep, 1/6 chance for Poison, 1/6 chance for Paralyze. And then on top of that, if you don't get one of those 3, then it's a 30% chance to Poison. Actually, what did happen in one of my games was you can get like a Dire Claw Poison. If the Pokemon has a Lumberry, they would cure that poison. And then you go for the Poison Touch chance if it gives a poison, and then you could give another poison that way. So I did face that before. Proc Dire Claw, poison the Pokemon, removed their Lumberry, and then got poisoned again from the secondary effect of Poison Touch. So that's a pretty funny tech there. So Sneasler is cheese. Dragapult is also cheese, because Dragon Darts, which is not as popular of a move, I would say, in singles. Actually, no, it's pretty good. It's better than Dragon Claw. Outrage is also quite good. I guess you don't want to be locked into Outrage. But I think special sets are more popular in draft. But for physical sets, Dragon Darts hits both your opponents with a base 50 Dragon move. And also, Dragon Darts will smartly target. So say if I target Primarina, Rillaboom, and Primarina, and I go for Dragon Darts on the Primarina slot, it's going to automatically target Rillaboom twice, because Dragon Darts wouldn't be effective to a Fairy type. If Kingambit and Rillaboom is the example, if I target the Kingambit with my Dragon Darts and Kingambit goes for Protect, then again, it can't hit the target with Protect, so it's going to hit 2 times into Rillaboom. It's crazy. And say Dragapult has Outrage. Outrage hits a random opponent, so it doesn't have that the smartness attached to the move. If I target a Primarina slot and they switch out into a non-dragon, then it would hit both your targets once. So it's a broken move because you don't have to necessarily predict with it. And then you give it a Terra Dragon boost and it hits even harder. So definitely nice there. Say if it's Primarina or Rillaboom Sneasler, and Rillaboom protects, and you could bypass a Focus Sash with a Sneasler. So that is neat. And the third Pokemon I wanted on the team was a Steel that was good, because there are 3 Steels that are dominating the format, which would be Archaludon with Stamina Boost plus Electro Shot and Rain. Gives it the special +1 special attack boost. You give it an Assault Vest and it takes special hits very well, and it raises your physical defense, and then you can go for Dragon or Body Presses if you have, say, like lowered special attack due to Draco Meteor even after Electro Shots. So can still hit hard on that side. And you could pair up Archaludon with, say, Population Bomb from Mousehold, or Beat Up from Mousehold. You can give Archaludon a bunch of physical defense boosts, like you can target your own Pokemon and then go for Body Press into your opponent. So that's a very good strategy there. Goldengo is very good, as I said before, because Making Rain's a 120 power move that hits both of your opponents, and only gives you a -1 special attack drop, so crazy move. And King Gambit, you guys know from singles, it has Defiant. Well, this is not necessarily a singles strategy here, but with Defiant, you're going to get a +2 attack raise when your stats get lowered. So primarily this is going to be from Intimidate from Incineroar or Salamence or Tauros or other Pokemon that exist in the format that have Intimidate. You'll get basically a +1 attack boost instead of a -1 attack boost. And say if Primarina goes for a Moonblast against your Kingambit and lowers your special attack, you would get a +2 attack boost, which is definitely nice on it. So they are the 3 Pokemon I wanted on my team. So I saw Clover Bells. Definitely recommend their content, I guess. There's Clover Bells right there. So definitely make sure you check out their content. They're a great resource for VGC. I have like so many links of different resources that are very nice to have in the VGC, not knowing anything. Maybe I can make a video highlighting all of them. But there's like VGCResources.com, I think is the name of the website. Let me pull it up here. I think that's the name of the website. Yes. So this is a very nice resource. I believe Joe Ugardi and another person, I forget their name. Are they going to be? I don't think it was Talon that set it up. It could be, and I might be mistaken there. Maybe it's got to be somewhere here. But yeah, great resource for a bunch of VGC stuff in one space. I use almost all of these links even before this website was made. So this was just very nice that this resource is all in one place now. Yeah, so this was a team I saw on Twitter that intrigued me a lot, and it is listed here. So it is Sneasler, Dragapult, Kingambit, so it fit the requirements I was looking for. Magmar is here to redirect, so let your Kingambit set up Swords Dances. Maybe if a Kingambit goes for Cowtail Cleave, it would hit your Magmar instead of your Dragapult, so then you can freely go for Dragon Darts or something like that. You have Rillaboom for Terrain, and Primarina, and it's also like decent into Garchomp, not the best, but it's okay. And then I have Primarina here. I ended up not going with this team, but it is a pretty good team. I guess very vaguely over the sets. Sneasler, Focus Sash with Poison Touch. I believe on his very original build, he had Adamant. There's you don't want to lose always lose a speed tie to opposing Sneasler, and like just always have to be forced to click Protect versus their Fake Out, especially if it gives them their opportunity. If they figure you're Jolly, or if you figure you're Adamant and like always have to Protect on like the guaranteed free Fake Out to lose your Sash, you could even go for a Coaching if they have it, and something like that, or retire the other Pokemon. Or if Mousehold is faster than Sneasler, so it would also just kill you, especially if I don't have Terra Ghost. I have Terra Stellar, which will boost all of your attacks that you go for one time, which maybe it's not the greatest in singles, but definitely nice in doubles, because your games are usually no longer than 6 or 7 turns. So Stellar is definitely nice on it. Though flying is popular for earthquakes and ghost is popular to ignore opposing fake out. So Sneasler, cheeses, almost always want to go for Dire Claw. I think in my run in Louisville, I only got 2 poisons total. No paras, no sleeps, so unfortunate to me. We got Dragapult, and I don't think I made any other changes to the team outside of changing Sneasler from Adamant to Jolly. Dragapult, Choice Banded, Dragadart's stupid move. Outrage, also super, super strong. It can kill like Porygon 2 or a Moongus depending on their spread, especially if you go for Terra Dragon. Phantom Force, very, very niche move to use, and U-Turn's a very, very niche move to use. You're almost always going to use Dragon Darts and Outrage. Primarina, the spread here is to minimize the amount of damage you take from Life Orb Recoil, so it's at 169. 188. A very popular thing in VGC is you want to make sure you find your bumps. So if you lower your special attack 1 stage, you lose 2 bumps in special attack, but if you bump it up 1 more stage, you get 2 bumps. So that's like a very nice benefit there. You want to take advantage of that. And then a little bit of speed for I guess other Primarina or outspeeding Tyranitar. That's like very slow or something like that. We have King Gamut here, but also a little bit of speed for speed creeping. Pretty standard set here with Terra Dark. This is Terra Poison to make sure you can handle Sneasler better. Sneasler goes for Dire Claw. It probably kills this spread, or very close to kills this spread. But Terra Poison will let you be resistant to poison and fighting coverage, which is nice. King Gamut with Terra Dark just hits super, super hard, especially with black glasses. Magmar with Vital Spirit means you can't get slept by any move. You could have safety glasses to ignore Spore, but technically with the Hypnosis Yama team running around, you could get slept by that, but you can't even get slept by those mons with Magmar here. Well, I guess unless you lose your ability or something like that, or if you die. Follow Me will make sure single target moves only will hit you, but has it's slower than Fake Out, so that's just something you want to watch out for. Overheat can basically kill no bulk Goldenga, which is super nice because you are resistant to Make It Rain. Will-O-Wisp to hit the dragons out there. Like this should definitely take on a. I believe this spread here is to take on, I think 250 base power, Annihilate's Rage Fist, and then you could go for Will-O-Wisp as long as they don't have a Lumberry, and then Protect. Protect is nice to stall out Trick Room or Terrain turns or just not die. And then we have Rillaboom here with a Fake Out, Wood Hammer, Grassy Glide U-Turn. The attack boost, similar thing. You get +1 or 2 extra bumps in your attack with the EVs here. The speed is probably for Modest, Pelipper, and then you want even numbers in your special defense, because that'll give you more of a boost when having an Assault Vest and having an on number. And same thing with Magmar, you want to make sure you have even numbers in your defense and special defense, which will slightly boost up your Violate damage output or input there. So that's like the overall view of the team. This wasn't a team I ended up going with. I ended up going with this Louisville team. This was from, I have it in my notes here on the side. I have a lot of pages of notes over here. This was I think this was also by, no, Michael Derbeste had made top 16 with this team, and Ibrahim Marouf made 7 at Dortmund regionals with this team, so I felt pretty good with it. Generally, my goal was I would make a new account on Smogon. I made sure if I went 15-5 on the best of 3 VGC ladder, then I would take the team. And I went 16-4. I think my overall record is, do I have it over here, is 25-10 with this team. So it's like, I mean, it's still lower ladder, but this is like, this, I think the ladder goes up to like 1800s. So it's like at least midway there. So it's like not the worst. Okay. Yeah. So this is the team that I ended up going with. Yes, this is the team I ended up going with. This is the Michael Derbeste team. So I found this team, and but I didn't know what the EVs did. Like, it wasn't that helpful for me. So I redistributed my EVs, redistributed my Terra types, and I think I changed the move. I think I also found a version of this team that was in Michael Urbeste's team, but it was the same 6 in like a general, like a similar format. But these were the 6 I ended up with. There is this video by Talon VGC, another great resource. And he had a video called the 10 best teams right now in Regulation H. And this was predicting teams that he thought he would have faced going to Louisville, which he wasn't ended up going to go to. And this was the first team that he had listed, was this 6 of Pokemon here. Some type of Magmar redirect team. And I'll show later like the popular team archetypes, but he had 10 popular ones here with EV spread. So that was very, very nice of him. So I saw this on Thursday before the regional. I watched the video. No, I think I saw. Yeah, no. Well, Thursday night, I finalized my EV spreads, and then inside the Pokemon game, I had to actually create these Pokemon. So, it took me a while to learn how to do. Well, I didn't. It took me like a week or two to like get everything into the game, like ready to go. I beat both the DLCs. Unfortunately, I didn't stream them, but beating the DLCs made it a lot easier to get Terra shards. And get the Pokemon that I was looking for, get the items I was looking for to like EV train this team up with perfect IVs. I think my Dragapult didn't have perfect IVs, but every other Pokemon on my team had. Because my Dragapult had like maybe 10 IVs in special attack, but everything else had like the ideal IVs we were looking for. And the natures you could change pretty easily. And the Terra types, it's pretty expensive in the game to change your Terra type, but I got enough shards to change to all the Terra types that I was looking for with this team. So I changed that on Thursday, and that was fine. On Friday, I downloaded the video to watch the video on stream with the 10 most important teams to watch out for, and then like I could give myself an idea of what to expect, maybe have some notes of like what to do against certain team types. It was a very good video. And I saw the video again at the hotel the Friday night before. And what I didn't realize, I guess watching it on the flight, it didn't have the description, but this had a breakdown of the team by Michael Urbeste, and it's a 53-minute video. So it's like, I'm going to be spending probably the next hour and a half watching this video and like finding out exactly what the EVs actually were meant for on this team. But it was Friday night, and it was too late for me to change the EVs at that point. I had them set. So I was ready to go on my team whether I had, but honestly, a lot of my thought processes of EVs and changes were pretty similar to Michael's, but maybe had like my own intuitions about what I thought was going to be popular or like what I could like sacrifice or ignore on the team. But this video did help me. I did change my Dragapult from Jolly to Adamant after watching his video, and that was an easy change to make because I could just give it an Adamant mint. So, I think I can explain my EVs here. At another resource that's generally important. Do I have it up? I will get it up here. So, this chart on Smogon. No, I do have it here, but I'm pulling it up again. This was also something I referenced quite a bit. This is the speed stats. I'm kind of blocking it a little bit. So speed... like the raw number at level 50, if it's a positive nature, IVs, EVs, and like what boost it provides. So this speed chart was definitely also a nice reference to like have general ideas of what speed would be. There's other websites that also have speed information, and basically like there's a resource that'll give you, based on what's popular on the VGC ladder, it'll tell you what like EV spreads are most popular. So that was a super helpful information resource there. I could highlight that if I do a different video talking about VGC resources. This is just a basic, okay, this Pokemon usually, Sneasler, if you're Adamant, you're going to be 172 speed. I have to consider if I want to be faster than that or not. So that was very nice. So this is not my team. This is the team that I used. So first Pokemon I'll talk about is Dragapult. I changed it to Adamant because it gave you a better chance to OHKO Amoonguss and Porygon 2 with Banded, Terra, Dragon, Outrage. And Jolly just didn't provide that. And I was looking at the calcs at 9, and it was definitely true. With the Dragapult, I did want to outspeed opposing Dragapult because I thought it was going to be pretty popular, but I did face 0 Dragapults at the regional, so I was just lucky there. So that was definitely nice. I had Adamant. And Talonflame was also 1 point faster. I don't think I was too worried. I get an Adamant Scarf Basculegion if you were adaptability. And I was kind of worried about that spread. I didn't see that, and I don't think I saw a Talonflame either, so I just got very lucky there. But Adamant was 100% the right play. I don't know. I feel like a draft, you just want to go for speed, but bulk's important, attack, the amount of damage you do is important, and like if you're outspeeding or outslowing stuff's also important. It's all important stuff. Yeah, so Adamant was quite good here, and I talked about what the other moves do. If it was Terra Fairy Amoonguss or Terra Fairy Porygon 2, that's a little bit annoying. I might not bring Dragapult in those matchups. Sneasler, I also talked about. Definitely Jolly, so you could speed tie other Sneasler. I don't think Adamant's really a set on Sneasler. I could see justification for Adamant or Jolly on Dragapult, but I think you definitely want to go Jolly on Sneasler. Unless if you're Burden set or something, you could definitely go Adamant in that regard. But for Poison Touch, definitely want to be Jolly to speed tie others, and you don't want to be slower than Masshold or Whimsicott, especially because you kill Whimsicott with Dire Claw. But unless they go for like a Terra Steel or Terra Ghost, both of them would be pretty common. Terra Stellar, just a lot of damage. I think I'd do like 80% to close combat to Garchomp. So say if Rillaboom goes for a fake out, I could go for close combat and get the kill, though I would lose my Focus Sash. So generally not worth it, but Garchomp seemed a little annoying to this team, so like that was something I was looking out for. Kingambit next. On Michael Urbeste's team, he had a basically no speed Kingambit, 4 speed, Aladdin that still had speed, 0 speed Armarouge, but I felt like Armarouge was pretty out of the meta in favor of Delphox, and then as we ended up seeing on stream, Exeggutor, funny enough, even like Hisuian Typhlosion or Charizard were also popular. I think there are very few Armarouges, and I don't know how many made the top cut. So I wasn't too worried about that, and I wanted to outspeed opposing Kingambits that were running a similar team as this, just to get extra damage and go for Calciad Seeds. Because if you have a Sword Stance boost and Terra Dark with Black Glasses, you'll still do a ton of damage to opposing Kingambits. This mod is crazy, and you guys know that. I went with a speed and HP to maximize my chance to live a close combat from Sneasler if I Terra Dark. I still could get poison afterwards, but I do a lot of damage, if not bring it to his Focus Sash with a Kowtow Cleave, depending. Magmar is the next Pokemon. I have, let's see, compared to his team, Michael Berte's team, he has Modest and a little bit more physical defense, and I have like significantly more speed on my set. So I outspeed Modest Goldengo, which I felt was very nice, and Modest Archaludon. Archaludons and Goldengos were both modest and timid. It could depend on the team. So if I did outspeed them, definitely nice. Especially nice for Goldengo because I do if it's no bulk, I do 99% minimum with overheat. So that's quite good damage. Allows me to take a Stomping Tantrum if I don't Terra from a Garchomp or Earthquake. They do the same amount of damage because Earthquake is spread. So it's a little bit less damage. And I have still a 75% chance to live after Nasty Plot and Life Orb, Goldengo Shadow Ball. And if it's Modest Goldengo, then I outspeed and go for an overheat. If it's like Terra Dragon, then so be it, is what it is there. I know also Michael Uberte's team with Magmar, it was designed to live after Masshold goes for Beat Up on an Annihilate. It was designed to live a Rage Fist after basically 250 base power Rage Fist into Magmar. And this spread could die to that. So that's like the pros and cons of this. And again, I didn't realize that was the spread justification until the night before. Rillaboom. I have this spread compared to this spread. So, I mean, EV's in 5 stats, but it looks like mine is slower, has more special defense, but he has more attack and I have slightly more defense. Does he have? He also has high horsepower. So, a lot of sets were running U-turn, probably up until right before Louisville. And then I think high horsepower became a lot more popular. I was on the train of Rillaboom having high horsepower at least a couple weeks ago, thinking I was better than U-turn. U-turn is nice. Like into psychic train matchups, it's like easier to like maintain having grassy train out by having U-turn, but I think that was fine. And I didn't face any psychic train teams anyway. This video is going to be long, but it is what it is. So this Rillaboom, it takes a Life Orb Hurricane, which from Pelipper, which wasn't that common, but it usually Focus Sash. But more importantly, it takes 99% from Modest, Nasty Plot, Goldengo, Make It Rain. It wouldn't live it if it Terra Steals, but I could also go for Terra Fire and then live the hit, and then go for high horsepower and deal like 70 to 80% back with high horsepower. So into Grassy Glide, and like if you go for Make It Rain and take a Life Orb boost and then take a high horsepower, then take Grassy Surge Recovery, you might die to the next Grassy Glide. That could be a roll. So it's definitely fine. I also live Terra Psychic, Psychic Train, Delphox hits, or Fire hits. Maybe not if the sun is up, but I could also Terra to resist that as well. The attack that I have here, again, gives you a jump point. So it goes from 108 to 116, gives you 2 bonus. So that's nice there. Defend, let me live Brave Bird from Talonflame if I Terra into a Dragon Claw or a Stomping Tantrum from Garchomp. So that was definitely nice because Talonflame Garchomp seemed like it gave this team a little bit of problems, especially if Talonflame had like Covert Cloak, so it could ignore the fake out flinch from Sneasler or something like that. Yeah, so the last set is Primarina, which I don't know, going into Louisville, the least favorite mon in this team was Primarina. I think coming out of Louisville, probably the MVP of this team is Primarina. It does like a B+ job against a lot of things in the meta. It's not great into a ton of it, but it's definitely good enough. And it's a fairy, which is definitely nice against all the dragons that are out there. Mecha Best Ace team had more of a bulky Primarina with Citrus Berry. Mine is more offensive with Life Orb. And his has more speed. I have a little bit less speed on mine. So, this spread allows me to, I think it's a little bit past the bump in special attack. It's from 20 to 28 gives you the bonus in special attack. But with 60, it lets you kill max HP Annihilate with Moonblast. So I felt like that was a nice barrier to have. Annihilate is quite good. You want to have Haze to hit Dondozo with Tatsugiri. I feel like that mon is like generally out of meta, but it's still, if you don't prep for it, or if the meta becomes like ignores Dondozo, and then it's like gonna be really good again. I'm sure it's waves, no pun included. So Dondozo didn't seem that great overall, but it has +2 in all of its stats. So if you can like fake out with Rillaboom into Haze it, then it loses all the stats, and it's definitely not as strong. So Haze is important there. And also Haze is nice if you have Intimidate onto your Sneasler, or even if you have Defense drops from close combat, then you can Haze and take those away. If your Magmar goes for Overheat onto a Goldengo and loses -2 special attack, then your Primarina goes for Haze, and then your Overheat special attack drops are negated, and you're back up to neutral. So cool options with Haze. Hyper Voice hits both your opponents with Liquid Voice. It becomes a water move, so it hits pretty hard. If you go for Surf, it hits your teammate as well. So that's not ideal. And I don't know. Yeah, and Primarina does again Muddy Water, but Muddy Water is also not 100% accurate. And you don't want to run inaccurate moves on this team. I definitely remember missing. I did not miss any high horsepowers, but I definitely missed Overheats and Will-O-Wisps with this team, and they are like the 2 main inaccurate moves on this team. So Ideally, you try to go for 100% and then protect as well. I had defense on here, and I talked about defense. And he talked about suggestions. So he talked about this tab. I have a bunch of tabs open. Talked about this in this video. And we're here. Okay, so these are the general teams that people should watch for going into Louisville. And like when I was trying to go to sleep last night, the night before, I was like, how am I going to defeat Arcalon, Pelipper, and Massol plus Ape? Like this Rain Annihilate team is very annoying. I was like figuring out ways. It's like I could go for. I think I have notes. I have like a notepad of ideas that I had. Dragapult could go for Outrage. Sneasler could go for Close Combat, but a lot of Arcalodons were Terra Grass. So do you just go right for a Dire Claw into Arcalodon, but it's a Steel type? You don't want to go for Fake Out into it because then you give it a defense boost and it's hard to break. You could just go for King Gambit and go for Swords Dance and Redirects with Magmar. And then +2 Kowtow Cleave. If your Terra Dark can kill King Gambit if it doesn't have any defense boost. And you don't take too much. You take like 35% damage from Body Press from Arcalodon if it has no defense boost. It doesn't do that much because it's only super effective instead of doubly super effective. Magmar could burn it, but if it still gets defense boost, it's annoying. Rillaboom did okay damage with high horsepower. Primarina does okay damage with Moonblast. I think like a Fake Out from Rillaboom +2 Moonblast would kill Arcalodon. That was an option, though. I would have to probably Terra Poison, make sure I don't die to Electroshot. So a lot of things to consider. Massol plus Annihilate, also quite good. Wasn't as afraid of that combo, but still afraid of both these combos. And like in this archetype, you see they're both in the same team. And this was the team that I ran here in the top left. And this was one of the teams I was running at the beginning, as you saw there. Though I think I would like to run something like this in the future, and I think this format of a team might be the best format. With having Alolan Ninetales, Garchomp, Goldengo, a Moonguess, and these two. Like that seems like a really nice team. Maybe you could even switch out the Incineroar just to have Sneasler for coaching into Dragonite. Maybe that's another team archetype that's not really listed here, but that's like another way you could approach this team. Coaching Sneasler became a lot more popular. That gives you basically a bulk up boost to your the other Pokemon on your team. So you could put that into a Garchomp, you could put that into King Gambit, into Dragonite. Sarrowledge was another thing I saw. So interesting teams here. So we'll talk about all the matchups I had, so you can see how I did here. The first game was against Joshua Terry, and he had Mienshao, and I never saw this Pokemon in my 50-ish or so. That account I showed you was like 25 and 10. I had a bunch of accounts before this, so probably like 100-ish best of 3 games. Never saw Mienshao. It has Inner Focus, so it's immune to Fake Out. Close Combat, Knock Off, I guess, to hit Goldengo. Wide Guard lets you ignore spread moves, so you don't take any damage from moves that hit both your opponents. And then Fake Out. Arcalodon, pretty standard set here. No Draco Meteor, so it's, I guess, a little bit weaker, but you don't lose your special attack boosts with stamina. Standard Rillaboom, though it is Grassy Seed, that's a little less common than AV, but I guess it makes sense for Arcalodon. You're just doing more damage with grass moves. More of a defensive Primarina with Terra Steel, which is interesting since Close Combat would be super effective into it, but maybe this is for dragons, I guess. I'm not sure, because you're our fairy. Yeah, I don't know about Terra Steel. Terra Dragon, Goldengo. Definitely pretty popular to get rid of your fire weakness. And Specs just hit super hard. I guess Power Gem is to hit like Hisuian. No, because Shadow Ball hits like Hisuian Typhlosion. Power Gem maybe for Torkoal, I guess. And Pelipper with Damprock. Damprock was very annoying. I think one of the games I was like trying to stall out Rain. I was like, oh yeah, I'm not going to stall out Rain. It has Damprock. So this is like a pretty standard set. Terra Steel is not that common. It's usually Terra Stellar or Terra Ghost to be immune to Fake Out. I have notes on all my games. We'll see how much I remember from all of them. I have notes here on the side. In this matchup, I led with Dragapult Sneasler. I think that was like when I wanted. I think I had like an apex of lean on Dragapult Sneasler. I led too much on Dragapult Sneasler's go with something else. Yeah, if Dragapult Sneasler's too good and broken, let me use that. So like early games, I relied on it. Middle games, I didn't rely on it as much, and towards the end, I relied on it a lot. So I think that's like an interesting combination there. And he led Arcaludon Mienshao. I faked out Mienshao with the Sneasler just to break Sash. I went for Terra Dragon Outrage with my Dragapult, killed his Archaludon, which is great. That was one of my plans, was I could just Terra Dragon. I happened to hit the Archaludon. I could have hit the Mienshao. If I hit the Mienshao, it died, but the Archaludon, I'm sure, kills my Dragapult with Dragon Pulse. So that would have been great. Goldengo comes in on the next turn. I'm locked in with Outrage. And my Sneasler can't hit the Goldengo, so it just goes for making rains and kills both my Pokemon. And Magmar Primarina in the back, and his last Pokemon was Pelipper, so Magmar doesn't hit the Goldengo that well because of the rain. And he could also Terra Dragon with the Goldengo to ignore the damage. I do add speed with my Magmar onto his Goldengo, so I find out it's modest Goldengo, but I don't do enough damage with Hyper Voice into the Goldengo. Pelipper outspeeds my Primarina, which makes sense, and then I end up losing the game here. Maybe if I Moonblast, predicting the Terra Dragon from the Goldengo slot with my Primarina, then I might have had a chance to win that game. Game 2, I have more notes. I have a lot of those. This video is already long enough. Game 2, he had the same, we both went the same leads, and then I had Kingambit over Primarina in the back, since I expected them to not bring Primarina because they didn't bring it last game. I went for close combat on the Archaludon, and he lived, so he was probably a max HP Archaludon, because close combat probably should have killed. So that was unfortunate there. Eventually I lose to Primarina plus Pelipper in the back, which I did not expect Primarina to come that game. And I tried to make maneuvers at the end, but again, I couldn't outstall the rain. So I do lose that game. I go to 0-1. All my opponents were super nice. Josh was great. My second opponent, Henry Hernandez, basically ripped up my sheet here because, let's see if we see. Yeah, you're not gonna. Oh, maybe you can see it. Let's see. It's right there. Alright, it's kind of in focus. You can see that I accidentally inputted onto the Pokemon website that my Assault Vest Rillaboom had Protect instead of Fake Out. So my opponent saw that pretty close to me. He was like, "You don't have Protect on your Assault Vest Rillaboom, do you?" And I was like, "No, why would I do that? That doesn't make sense. I have Fake Out." He's like, "Yeah, your sheet has it wrong." So we called over a judge. And basically, I showed him in my game, yes, I have Fake Out. Here's the proof. They're like, okay, so they wrote it out on the page, Fake Out. I had to get a yellow sheet of shame, which for all the people that had mistakes or lost their sheets or whatever. I had to get printed out new ones. They became yellow. And I had to forfeit my first game because of my mistake. So if I win my next 2 games against Henry, then I'm fine. But it is not great going down 0-1 for a stupid mistake there. But I inputted all these teams the night before, which I should have been ready before that. You just needed to have the team ready into the website by 6:30 that morning. And then I think starting at 7:30, you could come in and pick up your team sheet. And then 8:30 was when the first game started. So I had to win these next 2 games to go 1-1. If I went 0-2, that would have been very tough to make my way to top cut. I had... so his team is standard Rillaboom, standard Primarina, standard Electabuzz, AV Flying Tyranitar is pretty standard, though he doesn't have Earthquake to take advantage of that. This Como-O set is kind of okay. Body Press plus Flamethrower is pretty decent damage with Terra Fire, and then Overcoat, I guess, to not get Sand Shift from the Tyranitar. And then Goldengo is here with a pretty standard set as well. So I led Primarina Sneasler with Magmar Rillaboom in the back. I wasn't that great on the Sneasler matchup. I guess I could outspeed Rillaboom and fake it out, but Electabuzz could follow me, Tyranitar, could Terra Flying, Kommo-o, Terra Fire is not going to be worried too much, and then Goldengo's on the team. And with Dragapult, we have a Steel type here, we have a Fairy option here, and we have a Fairy option here. So I did not like Dragapult into this game. They led with Kommo-o Rillaboom. Oh no, I said I led with Purina Sneasler. It's not the greatest matchup, but it does have fast Fake Out, and he has no Ghost types to block it outside of Goldengo. But I have Primarina to at least deal some damage to Goldengo. With Hyper Voice, it's like a 2 KO, so I was fine with that. When he led Kommo-o Rillaboom, I'm pretty sure I just Moonblast Kommo-o and Fake Out the Rillaboom, which was a pretty easy play to make, and I get it right, and I killed a Kommo-o. He doesn't tear anything, and I Fake Out the Rillaboom. No poisons. Again, I only got 2 poison the entire time with Sneasler. No sleeps, no paras. Fake Mon. Goldengo was brought out with Terra Steel on the back. Eventually, I Terra Poison my Primarina to make sure I don't get super effective damage from Electabuzz on Electro Web, so I'm able to live a hit, and I'm able to eventually beat his team. And I think we both reveal our 4 mods. Obviously, he had to if he lost. Game 3, I brought Rillaboom Primarina in the lead and Magmar Dragapult in the back. I figured he wasn't going to be bringing all 3 options, Primarina, Goldengo, and Electabuzz, to handle my Dragapult, because he didn't do that the first game. He brought Electabuzz and Goldengo in the back, but didn't Terra Fairy, Terra Steel with the Goldengo, so I think I had better odds there. He led... this game was... he had the Goldengo out. I do remember this game. And was continuously going for nasty plots into protects. But I basically killed every other member on his team that was not the Goldengo. And I just ignored the Goldengo in the entire game. I doubled up into that slot that wasn't the Goldengo, even though Goldengo was super threatening with nasty plot boost and Making Rains. But eventually, if it comes down to a 3-1, even though Goldengo can hit both opponents with Making Rain, I was able to win that game. I got the +4 special attack. And then at the very end of the game, I had Dragapult in the back, and I was able to kill it with Phantom Force even after it was chipped down. Because a Goldengo would live the hit from full if it teared into Steel, but it wasn't at that. It was Terra Steel, but it wasn't at full health. So I was able to kill the Goldengo with Dragapult with Phantom Force and won 2 games in a row against him, so I went to 1-1. Third game was against Gilbert Yao. He is top cut multiple times. Very good player. Probably I would say the second best player I played that guy. He placed the second highest as well. I think it was around 120th or so. He didn't reach the second day, but got very close. He had the same record as I did. So you can look at this Corviknight set. Terra Dragon, Iron Defense. Now look at so what are my team handles at? So Sneasler doesn't, Dragapult doesn't if he just doesn't Terra. Rillaboom doesn't. Primarina does okay damage with Hyper Voice. Magmar does okay to it with Will-O-Wisp, I guess, but you just get the +6 and you probably beat everything anyway. And I guess in theory, Brave Bird's eventually going to beat out Dragapult. And what's the last Pokemon I have in my team? King Gambit can kind of beat it. Corviknight's gonna be faster. I guess you can try to boost up with it, but Body Press is gonna just do too much damage. So I saw this team, I was like, this looks like an auto loss. But obviously you try to win the game here. Standard Primarina, though Terra Grass is a little interesting, I guess. Maybe you thought you were really Earthquake weak, but this team doesn't look like it is. Garchomp, Life Orb makes sense. Incineroar with Ghost makes sense as well. Flare Blitz is good in the Goldengo. Vivillon with Compound Eyes, so very accurate sleeps, and Hurricanes and gives you speed control. And then Porygon 2 is just bulky, so it's just another hard target to take down with the Corviknight. Terra Flying, I guess, to ignore the Earthquake from Garchomp, in addition to Corviknight, is an option there. So that's the basis of this team. I led with Sneasler Magmar, with Kingambit Rillaboom in the back. I fake out the Corviknight into Will-O-Wisp, the Garchomp, but he first turn Terra's fires the Garchomp, so I can't burn it. At some point, I'm able to kill the Garchomp and with Rillaboom, but Corviknight was setting up Iron Defenses. I was basically ignoring it and couldn't do too much to it. Porygon 2 was another member he brought on the team, so it was Garchomp, Corviknight, Porygon 2, and I think Primarina. I don't even know if I saw the fourth one, to be honest. But yeah, Corviknight won the game there, so that was pretty annoying. He was able to kill my Teradark Kingambit with +4 defense. So even though it was only super effective, it still killed me, which showed he probably had a ton of physical defense, because no defense Corviknight wouldn't have been able to kill me with that spread. So, but again, I wouldn't know that EV damage just off of playing the game raw. So it's hard to know that. So game 2, I spent a lot of time in game 1, before I forfeited the game out, thinking of strategies, during the game 1, thinking of how I was going to handle the Corviknight game 2. I brought Sneasler Dragapult with Primarina and Rillaboom in the back. Maybe I should have had Magmar to further pressure the Corviknight into tearing potentially. He let Incineroar Garchomp and Terragosi Incineroar, so I couldn't fake at it with Sneasler. Eventually, I'm able to kill everything on his team, the Incineroar, Garchomp, and Primarina. And I had Sneasler, Dragapult, and Rillaboom left, but all of them could not handle the Corviknight when it was at +6 defense. I mean, obviously, he killed the one Pokemon that could handle it, which was Primarina. And then I was stuck at that point. I had to rely on crits, and I didn't get any crits. So down to 1 and 2, not great. Fourth opponent was Seth Harson's team. And then I basically had to win the next 5 games to make it a day 2. Kingambit with Ironhead over Sword Dance and Lumberry, I guess to ignore burns or sleeps from Amoonguss. Scarf Salamence. We have Trick Room Frigarath with Covert Cloak and Twin Beam. I had no idea what Twin Beam did, so I just ignored it, and if it came out in the game, then I learned what it does, but I have no idea. Now I know what it does, which is it's basically a dual winged beat, 40 base power psychic move. It hits the same Pokemon twice, so obviously this will kill the Sneasler if it Focus Sash. So cool tech there. Amoonguss with Leaf Storm, so kind of acts as a Magmar on the team with the ability to put Pokemon to sleep, and Terra Water is interesting there, and then Ghost. AV Tyranitar seemed interesting. I feel like you wanted Fly on this team with Garchomp, but that's fine. Interesting that the Kingambit can't go for Sword Stances, which is good. It doesn't have a ton of power, setup potential. It doesn't have any, but it just hits decently hard off the bat. So, just interesting to note there. And also, the Amoonguss doesn't have Protect, so I can just target it for free, basically. So I had Magmar Sneasler as my game 1 lead with Dragapult Primarina in the back, and he led with Salamence Frigarath. I'm pretty sure this was the game every time he led with Frigarath and just switched it out turn 1. But having Armor Tail's an ability to make sure I can't go for priority moves to it, that's fine. It definitely makes sense that he approached it that way, but it felt like it wasn't that beneficial for me to make a read of him switching out the Frigarath and I go for Protect on the Garchomp or whatever. That didn't feel like it was worth it. He led to Salamence, which wasn't good in the Magmar Sneasler. Primarina's fine, taking it in the back. Magmar's not that great this game, honestly, as long as you have the Frigarath, so it was probably not a great idea to bring them on. And with Kingambit having Lumberry, and you could go for Terra Dark, it's not that threatened by Magmar, so maybe not the greatest in this game. I don't have a ton of notes in this game. Amoonguss, Terra Waters. Magmar at some point misses a Will-O-Wisp from the Garchomp, so goes for Stomping Tantrum, and I'm able to live the hit. But then I go for the burn, and I don't get it, which is unfortunate. But I lost the game, but I would have won if I got the burn on the Garchomp, is what I have in my notes. So, unfortunate there. Game 2, I led Kingambit Magmar. Again, Magmar seems weird, but it's what the team does. And I had Rillaboom Primarina in the back, so no Dragapult, no Sneasler. I was trying to catch a Salamence me, but he led with Garchomp, so I also kind of mess up that lead. He switches into Salamence from the Frigoraph, and then you can just go for Earthquake or Garchomp, so that definitely makes sense. I'm pretty sure I bring in Rillaboom for the Kingambit, so that way, if like I kind of predicted them to switch out to Frigoraph to like go into Salamence, so going into Rillaboom there will weaken the Earthquake's power, and then I could get a decent damage off with Kingambit or go for Swords Dances. Eventually, my Magmar dies, his Garchomp dies. I'm able to get a Swords Dance up with the Kingambit, and then Terra Dark basically cleaned up everything on his team. So that's what happened game 2. Game 3, I brought the same 4 as the game before. Kingambit, Magmar, Rillaboom, Primarina in the back. He led with Salamence and Garchomp, so this was not... Yeah, I guess he led with the first 2 games. He didn't lead with the game 3. He led Salamence, Garchomp. So it did give me an attack boost leading with the Kingambit, so that was definitely nice. That was the reason why I went with the game 2 if he led with Salamence. And I figured he would go back to Salamence in game 3 as a lead, so that's why I also stuck with Kingambit as a lead there. So getting an attack boost, definitely nice. I have a ton of notes on this game. I Terra Dark, Kowtow Cleave the Salamence to protect the Magmar as he tries to make a read into the Magmar slot and go for Terra Flying with the Salamence, because I did that in the game before. I switched out my Magmar into Rillaboom to weaken the power of Earthquake. I kind of figured he would make that read, so that's why I went for Protect with Magmar, and then just went with the damage with my Kingambit, especially because I Terra, I could easily live a Garchomp Life Orb hit, and I'm able to kill the Salamence, targeting that with the Kowtow Cleave, so definitely nice there. Frigoraph comes out next. I believe I go Rillaboom, and he goes for Stomping Tantrum into my Kingambit. I Kowtow Cleave, and like he lives on like 1 HP with the Garchomp, so it was a roll in my favor to live, but that was quite unfortunate. And I had my Rillaboom out, like he's 1 HP, but I can't fake out or Grassy Glide it because the Frigoraph is onto the field. So I can't do much there. Eventually the Kingambit's going to die. My Primarina's in the 4th slot, and he has Amoonguss in this slot. I do remember that the Amoonguss at some point misses a Leaf Storm, which would have like killed one of my Pokemon. It would have made it a lot easier for me to easier for him to win the game, but he missed it. And like I still could have had a chance to win that game, but because he missed it, like I definitely had a guaranteed win in that game based on the mons that happened at that point. So it was a little unfortunate, but he also I missed the Will-O-Wisp game 1. It would have won me the game, so I didn't feel too bad about that. So I'm 2-2 right now. Going into match 5 again, I'm gonna have to win the next 4 games to make it a day 2. And I played this guy, Control Geek. He has a Twitch channel, so definitely go check out his content here. His team was Ursaluna Blood Moon with Throat Spray, Terra Normal. So yeah, that's gonna hit really hard. And with this team, I wasn't sure if he was slow in Trick Room because he had that option with Frigoraph, or if it was fast with Whimsicott and going for Tailwind. And honestly could be both, because like this Ursaluna is like the primary damage output of the team. Like he does have Volcarona that can Quiver Dance. Terra Grass is interesting. Rillaboom here is just a general support Pokemon. Kingambit, another one. Terra Fire with I guess ignore the fire matchup. I guess that's kind of rough into this team. Sun. With Iron Head over Swords Dance, so I'm not as threatened by this Pokemon, honestly. Whimsicott has Terra Ghost, which is annoying. Has a bunch of nice support moves here. And the Frigoraph is... And what? This is the second game I saw Frigoraph, and I have not seen Mass Hold Annihilate yet. Trick Room with 2 attacking moves with Citrus Berry. So... Game 1, I lead Dragapult Sneasler, and he leads Primarina Rillaboom. Oh no, I have Primarina Rillaboom in the back. They have Rillaboom Frigoraph in the lead, so I can't fake out with my Sneasler yet again. Maybe that's why I didn't get a lot of poisons, because Sneasler couldn't fake out a ton, because I faced 3 Frigoraph teams. I Dragon Dart and Dire Claw into the Frigoraph slot, because if he goes for Terra Fairy and I Dragon Dart to Frigoraph, then it's going to just hit the Rillaboom twice. And if he goes for the Terra Fairy, then I can hit it with a super effective Dire Claw. He Terra Fairies. Eventually he doesn't go for the Terra, and I just do like 50% to both Pokemon. Dire Claw then doesn't kill the Farigiraf, and he gets a Trick Room off. Eventually I found out he had Ursaluna, Kingambit in the back that were both slow. I don't do enough damage, and they're able to win the game. So that would happen game 1. Game 2, I noticed that he didn't go for the Volcarona plus Whimsicott option there. He just went more Trick Room mode. I figured if I could lead with just Kingambit and go for Swords Dances, and that puts a ton of pressure on the team. And Kingambit is like also pretty slow. So it might be slower than some of his other Pokemon. So that was my game plan. I led Magmar Kingambit with Primarina Rillaboom in the back. He leads Farigiraf, Rillaboom, so I lead the Magmar, as I said before. I Terra Ghost my Magmar in this game. If he can, if he goes for Ursaluna and tries to hit with a Blood Moon, then I'll be Terra Ghost there. Well, he'll be able to hit me, but he won't be able to hit the Hyper Voice. So that is like definitely fine there. And it's not going to do too much damage to Kingambit anyway. If he goes for Earth Power, then on Terra Ghost my Magmar, I can redirect and not take a ton of damage. That's actually the reason why I did it. The Kingambit is faster in Trick Room than the Rillaboom, which is good to know. I was able to kill with Cattail Cleave. Ursaluna comes out. Magmar redirects to hit. And I'm able to kill the Ursaluna in 2 turns. I find out in this game that their Kingambit is faster in Trick Room than my Kingambit, so it's like a slow Kingambit, which makes sense. I also find out that Swords Dance boosted Cattail Cleave into Moonblast and not killed a Farigiraf. It's very bulky, but I still won game 2, that's fine. Game 3, I'm like convinced that he's going to go Volcarona at some point in this game, but I don't think he's going to lead with it with the Farigiraf. So I need Sleezler Rillaboom and go more offensive. He leads Farigiraf Rillaboom for the 3rd time. He's led with it all 3 games. I Terra Stellar to Sneasler. Is risky because Terra Dark on the Kingambit is just nice for offensive output. But I am able to kill the Rillaboom or the Farigiraf with Dire Claw plus like just Wood Hammer into the Farigiraf. I'm able to kill it before the Farigiraf gets a Trick Room off. He had Ursaluna and Kingambit in the back, and I'm able to just outspeed and outdamage the rest of the team for a pretty easy win. I had Magmar Kingambit in the back just in case I wanted the setup for Swords Dance. So I'm at 3-2. Looking better. I mean, being at this point positive is definitely a nice feeling. Next person I played is Piero Ochoa. He already has 236 points for the season, so that is pretty good. This is the 3rd team in a row that has Farigiraf. This is an imprisoned Trick Room, so maybe this is really not a Trick Room team, and it might be just fast Ursaluna into Tailwind. He might just have this Farigiraf just to have no priority and make sure Trick Room doesn't go up. And then like a little bit of damage on the side. He has no Flare Blitz on the Incineroar, which is pretty good into Kingambit plus Gholdengo. Though you can knock it off anyway. And you can Will-O-Wisp the Kingambit, which is like pretty good, but honestly you can still, if you get enough Swords Dance with Kingambit, the burn doesn't really matter. But still pretty good. Garchomp is poison, Terra type poison with Poison Jab. I guess to do a lot of damage to Rillaboom because it's, I guess, pretty annoying into this team. Though he does have an Incineroar that also hits it pretty well. Gholdengo standard and Ursaluna standard. So, yeah. So I lead game 1 with Sneasler, Dragapult, and have Rillaboom Kingambit in the back, and he leads with Whimsicott, Ursaluna, Blood Moon. I go for Dire Claw into Terra Dragon Darts as the lead here because the Dragon Darts aren't going to hit the Whimsicott, and I imagine Dragon Darts isn't going to kill Ursaluna with 2 hits. That's why I go for Dire Claw plus the hits in the Ursaluna, because I figure 2 Dragon Darts plus a resisted Dire Claw should kill the Ursaluna turn 1, and I'd be fine there. But I crit with my 2nd Dragon Darts, that kills Ursaluna. So then I have a free target with my Dire Claw to just hit the Whimsicott, and I kill that as well. So I basically get 2 kills in the very first turn, and that was definitely nice, because he'd probably Moonblast my my Dragapult with his Whimsicott. Actually, that's what he had to do, because I would have fast. He would have been faster than any other move they would have gone for, except for Moonblast. So he didn't Terra that first turn. I killed 2 Pokemon on the first turn, and he had Gholdengo Garchomp in the back. I don't know if he forfeited after this. Oh, he didn't forfeit after this. I figure out that my Rillaboom is faster than his Goldengo at some point, which I felt was weird. But it might be just no speed Goldengo. So that's interesting to note. It could be a Trick Room option, but not really, because Goldengo is still pretty fast. But I did note at some point in the game that my Rillaboom was faster than his Goldengo. So good to know. Game 2, I brought back the same 4 and the same 2 as a lead. He went with Whimsicott Goldengo with the lead, which makes sense because that's good into the Dragapult with Rillaboom Kingambit in the back. He gets a Tail 1 up turn 1. The end of the game, it was Garchomp and Whimsicott versus my Rillaboom Kingambit. He was able to Terra Poison the Garchomp, and he did like 75% with Poison Jabs for my Rillaboom, but I am fairly physically defensive on it. So I lived the hit. I wasn't sure if you're expecting the Poison Jab to kill. Whimsicott did like 60% damage to my Kingambit. I was Terra Darked already and got a special attack drop, so it actually gave me like basically a Swords Dance boost there. So I was able to kill their Whimsicott with a Cowtail Cleave that I might not have been able to kill with otherwise. And then on the following turn, I could just Sucker Punch the Garchomp and get my win there. So, win that in 2 games. I was pretty happy about that, especially against a pretty savage opponent. My match 7 was against Aaron Grubbs. He said he was playing VGC at least since like 2011. So crazy amount of experience there. His team is like probably the most standard I played, maybe outside this is the most standard team I've played so far. He has coaching Sneasler, so he can give a bulk up to the Kingambit, can give a bulk up to the Dragonite, even a bulk up the Primarina and just give it a lot more physical defense than it normally has. But you're probably targeting the Dragonite, especially because you're going to go for scale shots. So you're going to be lowering your defense using this move. So you negate the defense drop with the coaching there. So definitely not bad. So game 1, I lead Dragapult Sneasler. He does have 2 fairies and a steel. Don't care. I'm going to lead Dragapult Sneasler. And he leads Sneasler Dragonite. So I figured it was pretty low odds that he had 2 fairy types in the back. So I was pretty fine. I could just fake out into Dragon Darts the Dragonite. The Dragonite is multi-scale, so inner focus. It won't get flinched because it doesn't have inner focus. But I definitely wanted to break the multi-scale from the Dragonite and just do a lot of damage to it. But they double protect turn 1, so it makes sense. The Dragonite still has multi-scale at this point. And I don't think I didn't use the Terra because I didn't need to, because I could just fake out the Dragonite into 2 Dragon Darts would kill. But now at this point, I can't go for a fake out. I probably have to Terra Dragon my Dragapult, and I probably don't even kill the Dragonite at that range. But again, I don't assume that there's going to be 2 fairies that come out here. What was the other in lead? He led Sneasler. So even if he switches Dragonite next turn into like Clefable, I can double hit the Sneasler and just kill that. So like, that's not the worst output from Dragapult killing the Sneasler. So, and I would still have it in the future to switch out and then bring it in the future for Dragonite as well. So that's fine. If I was locked the Outrage, then that would be unfortunate, but I wouldn't do that at that point. He Terra Flyings the Dragonite though on turn 2. And I do go for the Terra Dragon on the Dragapult, and I double darts hit both. He is then able to outspeed with his Sneasler to my Sneasler and coaching the Dragonite. So the Dragonite's at like 60-ish, like 65%. After the Dragon Darts, it did like 35%. Even the Terra Flying, it still does a lot of damage. Then he gave a coaching to the Dragonite, so he gave it an attack defense boost. Then my Sneasler lost the speed tie and went for a Dire Claw on the Dragonite, and I crit and killed a Dragonite, which I definitely needed a crit to kill the Dragonite. So that was really bad for him. At that point, he forfeited the game. So game 2, we had the same leads. I bring the same 4 with Primarina Rillaboom in the back. I think this game, instead of... I believe I go Terra Stellar in this game and go for Dire Claw in case of switches out with the Dragonite turn 1. And then I get Dragon Darts off and go before the coaching, so I bring Dragonite to maybe 15%. So this game I did just Dragon Darts, the Dragonite, and the Sneasler. So Sneasler's brought down like 25% Dragonite with the Terra Terra Stellar Dire Claw damage, +1 Dragon Dart into Dragonite, brought it down to like 10-15%. He then Scale Shot and killed my Dragapult. After that, this Sneasler got a coaching boost on it. So it was +1 attack, +1 defense. That went for a Scale Shot into my Dragapult. So the Dragonite was at like 15% health, but with a attack boost and a speed boost. So definitely the outcome he was looking for in game 1. Rillaboom comes out, and then I predict the Dragonite to protect on that turn because I could just kill with a Fake Out. I probably don't kill with a Grassy Glide because it is 4-time resisted. I predict that and Fake Out the Sneasler into doubling into the Sneasler, and I believe I kill it on that turn. So that was definitely nice. I know eventually in this game, he had Clefable as his third, but he switched out the Clefable to go into Kingambit. And I read that with my Rillaboom, and I know I hit it with a high horsepower, and I did that play on purpose, and I did like 50% to it, and he was like very surprised that I made that play. It was super aggressive, but he had to play aggressive as well to like try to catch up in this game at this point. Also, at the very end of the game, I predict him to go for attacks. I forget what the situation was. I know at the very end of the game, I was able to get a defog off of my Primarina on a Dragonite, where I think the Dragonite could have attacked my Primarina. I think it attacked the other slotted status I protected. And I just go for a defog, remove the attack boost from the Dragonite and the speed. My Sneasler could then outspeed the Dragonite because it didn't have a Scale Shot speed boost, and I was able to kill it at the end. A lot of games happened that day, so it's like I don't remember all the games exactly, but I remember this game. I felt like I was in control the entire game. Like even though the Dragonite got the Scale Shot attack boost, I felt like I knew what I was doing, and I like figured out what like his plays. I had like a pretty confident way of thinking like he's going to do this, so I'm gonna like predict him to do the predict. So I felt very, very good after that second game. Obviously unfortunate after the first game, but it definitely happens. He was, I don't think, too happy about how the results went because that was his third loss, so definitely unfortunate for him. Match 8 was against Hunter Braum. That is Desk. Did I write it here? Death Smash. So this is, eventually I found out K-Crick's DCL team has death matches, I think one of their 2 VGC players. So that was very cool. Very nice guy. Was talking to him for a while, like throughout the tournament, like after we played. I think he thought, he remembered that I said my username was a Shuckle or something. He didn't know who I was. So I think he found Professor Shuckle and asked if I was the guy he played. So that was quite funny. So no, it wasn't him, but it was a different ShuckleKing. Instead, we figured that out. So his team, as we see here, he has Choiceman and Palafin. This was another Pokemon I never saw before. So I never saw Mienshao before I lost that game, and I never saw Corviknight before and lost. I don't know if I mentioned that. I never saw Corviknight in my prep games. And now we have Palafin that we know what it does. It's super hard hitting, but it has to switch out to get the benefit, but not even really. Like it could still hit fine with Choice Band, even in regular baby form. But obviously, it's broken in the hero form. So balanced team. Otherwise, everything is pretty standard. Terra Fighting, I guess, for Kingambit. Maybe he's Terra Water on the Amoonguss with Protect. Doesn't have a Clear Smog, so I don't know what his answer is into Dondozo. It doesn't look great in the Dondozo, honestly, but is what it is. It's not as popular for sure. So I let Dragapult Sneasler with Magmar Kingambit in the back. But I was worried about Terra Fighting Porygon 2, bringing the Kingambit, so I wanted to Terra the Kingambit in this game. He leads Incineroar Palafin, so I felt good going for a Fake Out and Incineroar going into Outrage, because Outrage will either kill the Incineroar or kill the Palafin, or it basically kills anything that he brings in, if it's not the Goldingo, or if it's like a max defensive Amoonguss or max defensive Porygon 2. So I actually feel fine going for a Terra Dragon Outrage at that point. So I'm kind of abandoning the game plan of going for Terra Dark for the Terra Fighting Porygon 2, but that's fine. I guess even if it's Terra Fighting Porygon 2, I can't really Terra the Kingambit because I'm not doing a lot of damage with mono dark moves. He Terra Ghosts his Incineroar and hard switches his Palafin into Goldengo, and I target my Outrage into the Goldengo slot. I definitely would have preferred to hit the Incineroar slot, so I would have killed it. As he goes for a knockoff into my Dragapult and does 50%, but I'm also dealing not choice banded hits. So that is definitely unfortunate there, but that's the risk you take for going for Outrage, because it's a random opponent. But I guess my Sneaser's at max health, so I have my Focus Sash, which is okay, but I can't do anything into the Goldengo, so that's definitely unfortunate there. I Outrage in the following turn the Incineroar slot, so at that point, I would have preferred to hit the Goldengo and just killed it. But I hit the Incineroar slot instead and going to Magmar. The Dragapult's going to die to the Make It Rain from the Goldengo. I think it Terra Steeled in order to get the kill there. I eventually try to get Swords Dance boost with King Gambit, and I think I burned a Palafin with my Magmar, but Palafin still doesn't care about a burn. It just does so much damage, so I lost that game 1. I think I killed everything but the Palafin. Game 2, I think I could have gone Holt Sneasler, but I was afraid of Goldengo lead, so I led with Magmar with Dragapult. I'm going to have Rillaboom Primarine in the back to handle the Palafin. Magmar's a weird lead, because if he leads Palafin, which he didn't lead, it was Palafin Goldengo lead, so I kind of predicted that right, but it was probably not the best thought process, because Palafin could just hit my Magmar slot just in normal form, and like Wave Crash kills my Magmar, like in baby form. So I could Terra Ghost my Magmar and like not die to the hit, but like, or I could protect, but it's not great. Like Palafin is gonna probably switch out, so you want to take advantage of the opportunity you get from like only having one attack out in the field. I think that's like the downside of Palafin. Again, I haven't faced it too much, but I think that's the general thought process. You want to get the advantage early. And then when the Palafin is stronger later, you have like more resources than they do. But with the Magmar lead, it was awkward because I died of Wave Crash, and I don't think it was worth it to use my Terra Ghost to like not die with baby Palafin hit when you could easily switch out. But I protect the Magmar and go for an Outrage with the Dragapult. I target the Palafin that's switching into the Amoonguss that's switching into the Palafin slot, and I OHKO with Outrage. So that's great, but Terra Dragapult or Terra Steel Goldengo kills my Dragapult, so unfortunate there. I think maybe I could have Phantom Forced with my Dragapult in the Goldengo slot. That would have been interesting. Not sure, but the Pult dies here. Palafin is strong in the Magmar. What did I say I had in the back? Rillaboom Primarina. It could do okay into those two. I have Memory in the back, but he also has Incineroar in his last slot, so me having Rillaboom, he could just go in Incineroar and Intimidate drops. I can go for high horsepowers and it does okay damage, but not enough, and I'm giving it HP recovery with Grassy Terrain. And if I bring in the Primarina, like then Goldengo like sets up nasty plots, and like it's just an awkward spot. We did like a lot of turns, probably at least like 10 turns of like pivoting out and switching out Pokemon, pivoting out, switching out Pokemon. He made like all the plays he had, like he made all the plays like that he had to make. He played it very well. Like I felt like I was playing very safe, but if he made like any aggressive move and it didn't work out, I think I had an advantage at that point. But he had a lead with killing my Dragapult, and he made every safe play, and I didn't make any aggressive plays because I felt like they weren't gonna really work out for me. Like if I made an aggressive play with my Magmar and burn a Palafin incoming in, like that's fine progress, but like the Palafin is still really powerful. Like I probably still have to switch out that slot anyway. So like it was a lot of maneuvering, but ultimately I ended up losing the game. Like because it was hard for me to kill the Goldengo because it was at 100% health. I had Magmar that could overheat it, but it was timid Goldengo, so it outsped my Magmar. So Nasty Plot boosted Shadow Balls. It's going to do a lot to it. Rillaboom doesn't do it a ton, and Primarina doesn't do a ton in the Goldengo, and it just hits so hard. So it's like, I don't want to take a Nasty Plot boost and make it rain, especially against Terra Steel. It was a tough spot there, so I ended up losing that game. Palafin was too good. I went 5-3. So what I got for winning one was this Briar card. That's apparently a it looked like a really bad card. I don't know the game in theory, but I was told that it's index. And it also says it's a Pokemon Trading Card Championship Regional. That's like the symbol that's in the corner there. It says you can use this card only if your opponent has 2 prizes left. If your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack card used by your Terra Pokemon, you can take an extra prize card. So that would just like auto win you the game when your opponent wouldn't expect it. It seems very niche, but I guess the niche might be worth it. I was told it's like at least a playable card. I got a playmat. That is really, really cool. It is, you can't see it super well, but it's going to take me too long. You can see the Terra Stellar Cinderace there in the background. So this is a playmat that I got. So very cool. And then for finishing in top 256, I got 9 packs of Scarlet and Violet Stellar Crown cards. So sure. And that's cool. I don't really play the Pokemon TCG. Actually, going through TSA, they had a problem with my bag because of like this tape that was on the packs. So I asked the guy, like, I'll give you a pack if you let me go through with these. He's like, nah, you're good. So that was, you could have your Pokemon cards. That was funny. So that's what I got in prizes. So I paid, what, $70? And I got 9 packs of cards, so it's like $36 in value, plus the promo, plus the playmat. It's probably close to $70 in value I got back in return. So like, I made even on my investment. Don't worry about the hoteling or the flights. I got a Pyroar. You should know what I'm gonna do with this, but I have a Pyroar, and then I have a cool Pokemon, which is Hariyama. Maybe you guys will see him on the channel soon, so that is neat. And then I have my playmats that I threw away, and the trash playmat, and the actual the team sheet. I saw a couple people had like laminated sheets that you could put the form in, and that's a good idea. Oh yeah, like before the game, like you have the sheet like basically down in front of you, and then like you click play, and you give the sheet to your opponent, shake hands, good luck, and then like you have 90 seconds. Then you see what their team is, and then I had a sheet of paper here. That's how I was able to remember most of my games, is writing down notes, seeing what they have, anything that looked weird, what my game plans were. And I guess you have more time after game 1, and like as you go very far into the tournament, you know what your opponents are going to bring, but it's like stressful. But it's like you also don't have a calc in front of you. You just have to almost play on instincts. So I know Jesse 504 got into day 2. He went 6-2 with the Michael, their best team, not the edited version that I had. But he ended up going 7-4 after going 6-2. So still very impressive. I think he was the only singles draft league player that made it to day 2. A lot of fun in this. I don't know if anyone else won 5-3. I think the only person I knew that went 5-3. I think everyone else went 4-4 or less. I had there's a couple photos I have. You can check out the Twitter. I saw Obo and John Jr., so that was a fun time. Mid Pokemon Master came, so that was also a great time meeting him for the first time. We got a picture at the crew there. We got Leo tagged there for no reason. Jay Bear made it to day 2. Starfish and see, I didn't know him as well. But he was the nicest guy out of all of them. Central. So Central's the nice guy. So that was a good group picture we have, and JJ's wife. Then we went out to dinner. Later on, got hibachi. Until Mid's having the time of his life right there. Met this guy, Wolf Click. Talked to him for like about a minute about Draft League, so that was cool. We'll see you there. We have John Jr.'s are playing code names, so that was fun. I was able to stay at his house for Saturday, so that was nice. On Sunday, I saw Nexus. So Nexus is definitely taller than I thought he was. So that was quite funny there. We talked for a long time, so that was really nice to they get to talk. It's nice to like to meet all these people for the first time. It's like, yeah, I mean, you take all this stuff for granted just playing online, and it's like it's nice to have friends online, but it's different than meeting them in person. Also, met Bridget, who plays Unite, so she was super nice. Met Seabed. I met him at Baltimore, but also nice to see him at Louisville. And we got all the prizes that I got there. You could check out my Twitter if you guys aren't following Shuckle King. So, yeah, that is my experience there. I also talked to James Beck. I didn't take a picture with him, but he was someone I knew for a long time. I guess because he did WB back in the day also with Wolf. And he knew who I was. That was pretty interesting that he knew who Shuckle King was. That was nice. Very cool event. The side stuff I think I definitely would be interested in doing. And like especially with not having to play game day 2 on Sunday, I think I could have signed up for some of the side event stuff. Especially because you do get championship points for like participating in that. I think I got... Let me see. I messaged it to the group that went how many points we got. Let me see. So I finished in between 129th and 256th place. So I got 60 championship points. Points are like, I don't know. It's vague in terms of how important they are because only the top 75 in each region get to go to Worlds. So I am not going to be top 75 in this region unless if maybe I win a regional. If you win a regional, you're guaranteed to make it. But maybe if I finish like top 8, top 4 in a regional, I might have a chance to make it. But I don't think I'm going to be making any regionals this event because I'm not going to be playing any more events in 2024. I signed up for Sacramento, and then the next day they opened up slots for Louisville for like the second wave. I was like, well, that's a dick move because I would have gone to Louisville and not gone to Sacramento. Toronto, I think it's opening up in a couple days. I think by the time this video goes up, I think it's the 17th, which I think is going to be when this video goes up on Thursday. I was saying Wednesday guaranteed, but it's going to be Thursday, I think, so that's going to be fine. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go to Toronto, saving up money to buy a house and all that. Guys, don't have to hear to train anymore. But I think 2025 I'll definitely do some stuff. And I think I'll probably do some VGC stuff on the channel at some point. It was definitely a fun format. So, yeah. That's my experience there. It's a very long video. I'll definitely have timestamps for everything. If you guys are interested, if you made it this long, awesome for you. If you would be interested in any VGC stuff, let me know. I'm probably going to do it regardless. If you want like a guide to VGC from someone that never played it before, like all the resources that I used to get to this point of like feeling like I was competent. Like, I don't know if I showed any competency in like all the matchup like summaries that I had there of my games. But I feel like I definitely know the meta significantly more. I would be very much interested in doing a VGC draft league on Wi-Fi in the future if like we have people that are really committed to it. So, if you see this video and you do Wi-Fi draft league VGC, probably more so than I wouldn't want to do doubles, like 6v6 doubles. I think VGC would definitely be more interesting for me. I might be interested in both, but I think the VGC format, best of bring 6, choose 4, I think, and best 2 out of 3 seems like a pretty good format. So yeah, if you do that stuff, you see this video, you can reach out to me. I might be interested in 2025. We'll see. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this. Hope you enjoyed my journey, talking about the teams I brought and all the matchups I played. But yeah, until next time, later guys.